Hi everyone and welcome back to Kopi with Chris. It's KWC time and I'm Chris Henson. For some strange reason, I really feel as if I haven't done this show for a while, but you know, that's not true. But then again, who do I have with me in my studio today?
Hi.
I've had DJs, I've had radio DJs, club DJs, and now I've got a former MTV VJ. And please welcome May Wan.
Hi. Thanks for having me in the show.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And really, I've never had a VJ on my gig before. You're the first.
Oh well, maybe then you can ask the next couple of ones to come along next time. There's still a couple of us here in this town. So.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it is a staple in my show because we like to talk more to our Kopi Kaki. You're my Kopi Kaki.
Yes,
today.
we are Kopi Lang today.
And what
Kopi
are
Lang.
you having? What do you have? What do you have in your cup?
One of you guys made me like a packet iced coffee. But it's good. It's good. It's all good. I was saying that we should have gin and tonics, but we can do that for the next time.
Okay. So
Yeah.
next time you can come back for another show. Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
good. Now, normally it's a staple in my show to leave it to my Kopi Kaki to do their own introduction
Right.
of who you are and what you're about.
Okay.
So I'm going to hand the mic over to you.
Oh my God, pressure.
What pressure? You've been doing more bigger gigs than I ever have. The
Okay.
show's yours. Go ahead.
Show's mine. Oh, hi guys. So I'm May Wan. As you all know me, I'm a former MTV VJ. With Singapore, I was on a show, if you guys remember, called Double Trouble that I hosted with my twin, where we interviewed artists, and then it will always end with a double kiss on the cheek. Sometimes when I look back and go, I can't believe I did that. Oh my God! Like I don't think I would do it now, but I guess when you're 24, you don't really think about anything. You just kind of go with the flow with life and just I've been in the entertainment industry for over 20 years now. Actually, I'm turning 40 this year. So,
Well,
yeah.
you knew I was about to ask that question.
Yeah, a
huh?
milestone, yeah.
Very good you are.
Thank you. Well, I'm very proud of my age. I'm never embarrassed. Yes, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been in Singapore. This year will be my 16th year. It's probably the longest country I've ever lived in. I've moved countries 3 times. Malaysia, Australia, and Singapore. Singapore's the longest.
Okay.
Malaysia was 12 years. Australia was about 9 years. And this is the longest one.
And why did you pick Singapore to be the one that's the longest for your stay?
Well, I guess I moved here for work initially, right, with MTV, and then we stayed on, and then I got married, but then not long after that, I moved to Indonesia for 2 years, and then I moved back here. Because by the way, I'm also a mother of 2 lovely young daughters.
Nice.
They're 11 and 9. So that's one of the reasons why I picked Singapore for the long term, because I just feel it's a great place to raise a family. Obviously, it's a small island, so it's very convenient. Number one for me was the standard of living obviously is very good, and also education, but also it's super safe.
Okay.
It's probably one of the safest countries, probably the safest country I've ever lived in. I have no qualms, ever since I was young here, going out late at night. Those days when we used to rock up to like Zouk and Velvet in like super short skirts and backless tops. And, you can like go home at 3 a.m. in a taxi and know the uncle will look after you
come
and
on.
pass you a plastic bag
come
at the car,
3 a.m. is early, man.
Okay lah, 5 a.m. when I was 24, and then it became 3, and now it's like 2 is the latest, or 1, sometimes 12. Yeah.
Sometimes 12. Huh?
Yeah. So
really 12.
I
probably.
do love this country. I mean, it's been great for my kids. I think it's just a really nice sort of little place to grow up, and it's also very multicultural. It's very cultured. It's an international city, and yeah, I just feel like, and I like it's a fast-paced lifestyle, the Asian lifestyle. You know what I mean?
You were born in Malaysia.
I do love KL, but I don't think I will ever go back there. No, it's because my late father passed away. So that was my reason for going back in the previous years. But obviously, since he's passed away, I wouldn't say there's not really a reason, because my house is still there. But it's a little bit bittersweet every time I go home, because when I go back to an empty house and he's not there, it kind of makes me sad.
So where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Malaysia or grow up here?
So the story of my life is I was born in Kuala Lumpur, and then I lived there till I was 12, and then my mom remarried to my Aussie stepdad, who is wonderful and still alive to this day. He's 84. Fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah. They've been married 30 years now this
Wow.
year. Yeah. They proved everyone wrong. There you go.
Now, what did they have to prove wrong?
I was kind of like scandal-ish. It wasn't really scandalous thing, but because my stepdad's first wife had passed away probably 2 years before that, and everyone was like, "Oh, how can you remarry again so quickly?" La, la, la. Those were the days like people are a bit like, I don't know if you understand Cantonese. Very lazy, very kepo. People very kepo. They like to gossip and spread stuff. So yeah, this year is like 30 years, and I told my mom, you know what? Fuck them, serve them right. You guys proved them wrong. You've been together 30 years.
I don't see why that would be scandalous to begin with.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just small town talk.
His first wife passed away. He became a widower.
Yeah, well.
And he got married 2 years later.
Yeah,
What's the big fucking deal?
Yeah, but people are like, how people can get sometimes, right? So yeah, so anyway, I moved to Australia from 12 till I was 22. So I was there for the whole of senior school, high school, and then I went to university there, and then I moved back to. So when I graduated, I had a Bachelor of Arts degree in Asian Studies. I know, very boring, because honestly, when I look back and go, why did I do theatre or musical? But my mom was a little bit of a typical Asian mother. You better study something that you can fall back on,
Something academic.
Something with substance, something like that. You know how Asian moms are like, and I'm just sort of softly generalizing it, okay? That generation. So I did a BA. At first I was going to do accounting, but I sucked. So I did a BA, did an Asian Studies major. And then when I graduated, the plan was to go back to Australia after my summer trip and work for the Foreign Department of Trade in Canberra. Wow. I know. And then as I was back, because in Australia, our summer break is the end of the year, not the middle of the year, because we are in the Southern Hemisphere. So when I was back, and then I was offered a modelling contract. So I was like, model, government job in Australia. Yeah, so I took took the modelling. And that's how I ended up back in KL again. But I was only in KL briefly for 2 years. And then I was traveling around. So I modeled in Taipei, Hong Kong, Bangkok.
Okay, I got to stop you there. I just want to ask you this. Between a government job and modeling, and you picked modeling.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to understand what was your motivation for that. Because most people would just go for the government job, wouldn't they? Well, I'm just being too freaking fuddy-duddy.
See, I would say I sort of started late because a lot of models tend to start really young, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Right.
Like again, by my mother being a typical Asian mom, you better not do any modeling until you graduate and you have a degree to fall back on. So in case it doesn't work out, then okay, fine. So I did do some modeling work for the few summers I was back in KL. I do some freelance TV commercials and things like that.
Right.
And I've always wanted to be one. I grew up in the era of the supermodels, Claudia Schiffer, Cindy Crawford, Helena Christensen, and I used to see them walking down the catwalk. And I'm not very tall; I'm only 5'7", so I used to be like think and go, I could be Kate Moss because she's only 5'7", so there's a possibility for me to do this. But in Asia, 5'7" is considered tallish, right? So I've done it for a few times, and then when they offered it to me full time, I kind of went, this is going to be exciting. It's going to involve travel and meeting new people. And I thought that sounds a lot more appealing than sitting in an office in a boring city. Sorry to say, Canberra. So that's how it all pretty much started. Yeah.
So basically, it wasn't a difficult decision to make.
No, not really, no.
Ah, okay. And the traveling, was it hell or was it great?
No, it was great at the time. I loved it. I went to Taipei for the first time. And it was a great market for me. I literally worked every day as a model, and which is so unheard of. You don't work every day, but because the Eurasian look was just becoming fashionable in Taipei in 2003.
Oh, wait.
What?
Eurasian.
Yeah.
You just said Eurasian.
Yeah, I am Eurasian.
So on your...
Wait. Let me finish story, then I will go to that part.
No, don't. It's my show. Hello,
okay,
stop
sorry.
I will stop you first. Hello, this is Kopi with Chris. No, this is not gin and tonic with May. Okay, now, you said Eurasian. So is it officially in your ID?
Yes, so... God. I would love to tell the real story. There is a lovely story to who I am
See,
and
that's why I
what I
stopped you.
stand for. But I have not actually consulted with my family about speaking the truth officially on social media and things like that. So maybe the next show, if I come back, I'll tell you the real story. But for now, I will tell you my biological father is Norwegian.
Okay.
Right? So I am 50% pure Viking. But I was raised by a Chinese dad. So he was the father that raised me. And I'll tell you guys the story one day. I know people kepo and always ask, but only close family and friends know the story. So my mom, my mom is Asian Chinese, obviously, but Troy did a DNA test a couple of years ago, and it turns out we're only like 33% Chinese. So, and then I had Chinese New Year dinner with my auntie the other night, and then she got talking about my Asian background.
Roots, yeah.
Yeah, my roots. So my paternal grandfather came from. Oh, sorry, I'm confused now. So on my mom's father's side, her paternal side, they came from Guangzhou. Okay, so that's where we have the Cantonese culture in my family. Like, I love to drink soup. I speak Cantonese. And then on my mom's maternal side, my great-grandmother is a Peranakan woman from Medan. Yeah, and then my grandfather is someone... Have you heard of San Ning Yan? He told me this dialect, but I don't know how to say it in English. He's a San Ning Yan, so he's from one of the provinces, but I don't know which part.
Okay.
But I know that I have Peranakan blood in me. Apparently, we also have Thai, but I never claim to be Thai or Peranakan because that's really quite watered down.
Okay.
But I know that my great-grandmother was a Peranakan woman from Medan, and she wore kebaya, and she carried a barang around, and she spoke Malay, so it's so badass. Love it. So that's my heritage, but I always tell people I'm half Norwegian, half Chinese. Easier that way. I don't need to tell you I'm 1/8 this, 1/8 that. It's just too much to tell.
But on your ID, it says Eurasian.
No, actually, it says Chinese. Because my official name is very Chinese, May Wan, because I was raised by a Chinese dad. So because they will look at you and go, huh, your name Chinese, how come you say you're Eurasian? So they don't give you a choice. They put Chinese.
So you have that conundrum, right?
Yeah, it's funny, right?
The way you look, and then your ID says Chinese.
I know.
Look at me, I look Chinese.
I know.
And then after that, my ID says Eurasian.
I know. I've had people who look at me because I also tend to change accents very quickly based because of where I've lived and where I've worked. But I've had people who see my name and then when I turn up, they go, like. You don't look like your name, or your voice doesn't match your look. Because sometimes I can sound like a real, like, you ask my manager, Singaporean girl swearing away, and then they go, the voice don't match the face. Because she's like, they think I'm supposed to have like this sort of atas accent, because I look like a Guai Lo or something like that,
With all this that you've got, this, you and I were in kind of the same spot.
Yeah, because you
almost.
also mixed yourself, yeah.
And when you were in school, what kind of confusion did you go through?
Confusion? I didn't actually really feel
or challenges.
I remember my sister and I were we were bullied quite a fair bit in Malaysia because we were in school till primary 6 and we were the only Eurasian girls in the school. So there was these pair of twins, because we have sort of reddish brownish hair, and we were just teased for it. And I remember we moved to Australia the following year for first year of secondary, but because at that time, Malaysia, you start school, the new year starts in December. So my mom said, I don't want you to wait around for 3 months not doing anything before you move to Australia. Why don't I just put you in Form 1 for 3 months, right? And it was in a public school in Malaysia, which is, in public school in Malaysia is Malay-speaking school.
Yeah.
We would walk past teachers that would talk about us behind our backs in Malay. And we'd be like, well, dude, we're in a Malay school. So that's obvious why I'm here, because I understand Malay. So they started calling us names behind our back. And then even the Chinese boys, they were calling us like all these nicknames. And then I remember there was one time, he was just giving us shit. And then Choi couldn't take it. She turned around and just fucking like cursed at him in Chinese. And he was like, oh shit, the Ang Mo can like curse back in like really rude Mandarin words, So it was a little bit... I think if we had stayed longer, there would definitely have been some more of a torment. But then when we moved to Australia, it was like nothing. I mean, in the beginning, there was a little bit of teasing because then again, I was in a very white school with hardly any Asian kids. I think there was only 6 Asians in the whole school.
So this was the flip side of things.
Flip side, but because no one really makes a big deal if you're a mixed blood in Australia. Australia is kind of more like, they're very chin-chan, like, okay, like, you mix, If you're white, you're Chinese. So then after that, I felt a lot more accepted over there. But then the funny story is people always ask me now when they meet me, they'll go, why does your accent change all the time? Like sometimes you sound like Australian, or you sound a mix, or you sound very like from around my Singaporean friends. Oh my God. And it came from sort of wanting to fit in. So when we moved to Australia, obviously I spoke like a complete Malaysian girl, like, very simple Malaysian, like I don't understand Ang Mo accent. You know when you used to hear Ang Mo accent, you used to think, wow, it's so posh, it's so like atas, right?
Yeah.
So when we moved to Australia, and then the first couple of days in class, we were talking in the Malaysian accent, and the teacher would be like, excuse me, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then I'm like, oh, like that, huh? And then Choi and I just went, I think we need to switch up the accent. So we started speaking in Australian accents in school. And then obviously, and it was very easy to pick up. Obviously, if you're in an all-white school with all-white teachers, you pick up the accent. And I had an Aussie stepdad. Then when I come home, and the Aussie accent is still there, obviously I've been speaking it for like 7 hours in school, I'll be like, hey mom, do you have a snack? And she'll go, you don't talk to me in that Ang Mo accent. You still a Malaysian girl, okay? So when you come back, you talk to me like you're from Malaysia. Okay, mommy, I'm sorry. Then it's literally you switch. And then when I see my stepdad, like, hi, Pa, hi, are you ready for dinner? Do you want a cup of tea? And then mommy, what time is dinner ready? Then, like you just swap. No, it's a legit story. People always think I'm faking it. It was legit. So we grew up switching accents. So it depending who I'm with, or where that person's from, then I sort of switch. But now a lot of my Malaysian friends will say, hey, you sound very Singaporean. But you know what? I'm actually really proud of that. I've lived here 16 years. I have Singaporean friends. My management is Singaporean. You go to the kopitiam, I assimilate myself. So it's natural that I would sound stronger. I have more of a Singapore slang now.
So
Singlish.
May Wan's a chameleon.
Yeah, and then the American accent came up because then when we worked for MTV,
right,
they were like, you guys need to sound more American. So it'll be like, hi guys, welcome to the Top 40 show. And our number 1 hit chart tonight is Rihanna with Umbrella. And then from there, it was like, we just kind of like... So then sometimes now when I go for auditions, I will look at them and go, okay, you want me to do like what accent? Like, do you want me to do Singaporean? Or sound like American? Or you want me to sound like MC? So I have an MC voice as well, which is super neutral, no accent. I know, it's crazy.
Okay, wait. MC voice is a neutral accent.
Yes.
You know something? I always get so fucking pissed when I receive stuff like this, for voiceover work. I do quite a bit of those. And when I get those scripts that come in, and then they give you the production direction, right? And they tell you accent neutral. And I always go, what the fuck do you mean by neutral accent?
But what you're having now, though, is quite neutral, I think.
Really?
But I would do something like, ladies and gentlemen. So my accent for MC would be like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Asian Television Awards. Like that, like super neutral. You don't hear British, you don't hear American. It's just really like super neutral.
I can go into a pitch debate with you.
I know, totally. We can go into pitch, but...
because the pitch debate about that. Because I especially when it comes, there's an MC accent. I disagree. It shouldn't be like that.
And sometimes I have people who tell me, can you audition like you were on MTV, like super lively, like VJ-ish? I'm like, okay, here we go. And I mean,
no, that's all cool.
But there's the whole point of our industry, right? We are supposed to be like chameleons, so we're supposed to.
Sure,
I feel we have to adapt to anything, and that's what what our art is all about, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'd like to ask about Choi.
Yeah.
So you can switch accents, but your sister can do the same.
Yes, pretty much. We're
How did this all
twins.
happen? I mean, okay.
And you should hear her Cantonese now. It's power, man. Like, she's been in Hong Kong for the last 4 years. Like, when I've heard her curse at taxi drivers, I'm like, wow. Like, she's like freaking. And also, I speak fluent Indonesian because I was married to an Indonesian. So
Right.
when I speak Indonesian, apparently I sound very Javanese, very Jakartan. So I can do a very good Indo accent as
So
well.
you can be a typical Ibu, huh?
Bisa dong, nggak apa-apa sih.
Well, all right. You remind me of someone I used to, I went through acting training with 2
Right.
months with the then TCS, Vivian Tan.
Oh my god, I love her. I love Vivian.
Yeah, we had some stuff that we had to do, for our classes back then before we became actors. And you remind me so much
Actually,
of
I've
Vivian.
had a few people tell me that when I first started in the industry.
Not
They say, you really
surprised.
remind me of Vivian. Yeah.
Yeah, Vivian can break into accents like nobody's business, and you guys about the same height, look about alike.
Almost, that's what I've been
Yeah.
told as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's super talented.
Yeah, she
really,
is,
really
she is. She's
is.
wonderful.
Yeah. So you remind me a lot of her. So Choi and yourself can break into all these, just
Oh, yeah.
swing in and swing out of accents.
Dude, I was playing a Mandarin speaking, Hokkien singing, Thai singer,
Yeah.
Nobody would believe me that I did that. So I can do anything if you want me to.
Papa Yao, is it?
Yeah, that was
Okay,
that was a fun role to play. Super fun. I got to play a bitch.
No, but amazing.
But then people say,
Okay.
but you are a bitch, May. You sound just like yourself. So I don't know.
But this is where I'm trying to understand. 2 sisters, identical twins, and both of you've got that same knack of moving in and out of accents, having all the same. Can I safely say this? Same talents?
I would
Attributes?
say similar. Yeah, would you say so? I would say pretty similar. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And both of you were you're both naturally like that.
I
Inherent in
know.
your
I know
systems.
not everyone can switch accents and languages, but I do have some friends who are like that, and we are just one of those. I guess because I feel like yes, I was born in Malaysia. I always say I'm proud to be Malaysian, but I always feel in a way I'm a third culture kid. In a way, because I feel I've been really exposed to lots of cultures, lots of different races. So I always feel like I embrace everything that's given to me. Yeah.
So when you went in your modeling gigs, you instead of camera, you decided to go modeling, travel. Was your sister with you?
No, so the first year, because she stayed back to finish a second degree, and also for love, which didn't work out, but you know what you're like at 21, right? I went to Taiwan first, so I did the round first. I went to Taiwan,
Okay.
and then I went to Hong Kong, and then when she finished, she graduated. And then how the twin thing came about is because we did do you guys remember FHM?
Yeah. Oh
You
yeah,
know,
I
who
do.
doesn't remember FHM, right?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, which is not existing anymore, but
Sadly.
yeah. So we did an FHM. So we knew the guy who ran FHM in KL, and then we did the cover for FHM KL. And in KL, for some reason, once you've hit FHM cover, you just become a star. For some weird reason, it's not like Bazaar or Cosmo or Clio. Somehow, any girl that got on an FHM cover is suddenly noticed. And obviously, you put a pair of twins. They're like, oh, these pair of twins are. So that's how it started. And that's how the May and Choi thing slowly started, was from that FHM cover.
Okay.
Yeah, and then after that, we did the rounds together. Like we didn't always model together, but then we were always known as the twins, the FHM twins. And then we did a shoot for New Man magazine, and somehow that story was republished in the Singapore edition, and that's how the MTV bosses noticed us. They bought the Singapore edition and said, "Oh, where are these twins? Find them." So I always say it's fate and luck. Sometimes how things turn out for you, right? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but the two of you are talented. You are
Oh,
talented.
thank you. Oh, thank you.
I mean, I'm sitting here, listening to you. I'm not even talking much. I'm letting you go on and on and on.
It's a talk show, right?
This is no longer my show.
Can you imagine if I don't talk and I just sit and you go, yeah, cool.
No, I
Yeah,
always
cool.
said to the producer, man, please get me guests like that. I like Kopi Kakis like that.
Yes.
Just let you go on.
Imagine
and on.
we have Jin here. Sky's the limit.
Okay, I don't care. even if it's going to be neat producers, get me some damn gin. Okay, all right. So the FHM twins. Then you both of you got into New Man
New Man Malaysia.
New Man Malaysia
It was also
magazine.
like a men's magazine, but it was more like not the type where you see sexy women. It was more like a
Watered down.
fashion men's magazine.
Watered Down magazine.
No, like it wasn't even watered. It's like fashion. I know.
FHM is there, followed by Maxim.
Yep.
New Man is there.
And yeah, correct. We did Maxim too, by the way. So we did Maxim as well when we moved here. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I mean, coming from a hot-blooded guy, this
God.
is how I would rate it: FHM, and then Maxim, and then New Man. Yeah. So you both of you were spotted by the bosses of MTV, MTV Asia.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then what happened next?
So then we were asked to audition in KL. Say, hey, there's a audition for MTV Asia, and my sister and I kind of couldn't believe it because there was sort of like back in the day, you know, in the 90s and the early noughties, you know, MTV Asia was the dream job. You know, it was the absolute dream job for any up and coming sort of model / actress, whatever. So I remember thinking we used to watch Denise and Aunt Nadia, and we used to go, oh man, that is such a cool job. I would love to do MTV Asia. So when they say, hey, can you audition? We're like, really? For real? And then we went for the audition. But at the time, no one made it clear that they were looking at the two of us together. So we thought we were going up against each other, which created some takangguanness between us because we're like, they were like, hey, how do you feel? And then she will go, if you get it, I'm happy, lor. It's in the family, you know. So we said it's lost in the family, and then they were like, okay, come on down to Singapore and come for the final audition. And then we were like auditioning with Casey Montero, and I was shaking. And then we went in, and then the guy's like, yeah, so are you guys ready to do you want to move to Singapore? We're like, what, together? Like, yeah, together. And we're like, what the fuck? Literally, because we thought we were up against, and we had no idea. We're like, no, we wanted two of you. So that was like probably one of the best career highlights of my life.
Yeah.
We moved to Singapore with your twin, enjoying life, traveling the world. It was great. It was great. Yeah.
So, during your period as a VJ, you were doing shows as well. You just talk about you doing shows as well outside of
Yeah, we did
MTV?
do some acting. We definitely had acting stints. So my first acting stint, oh my God, believe this or not, this is so Singaporean, and I freaking love it. I'm so proud of it. So I remember my manager at the time called me and says, oh, May, by the way, I got you guys a guest spot on Phua Chu Kang. We were like, yes! Like, we freaking love. I mean, who didn't grow up watching Phua Chu Kang, right?
Okay.
So when she told me that, I was like, oh my God. So when I met Gurmit and Pierre and Irene and you know, King Hua, we were like, oh my God, like we're here, you know? So that was also one of my career highlights.
What year was that? PCK?
The PCK, we did the last season 2006.
Well, I
went to the goodbye show. There was a goodbye show at MediaCorp, and I remember we were all invited. And then when the show was over, we were all crying and stuff. It was just so memorable.
Lucky you were invited. They didn't invite me.
I'm sorry.
I was on a PCK episode.
Oh, really? Which one?
It's called Clockwork.
Okay.
No, the title of the episode is
What was your character in it?
I was a guy named Mr. Pereira.
Pereira. Wow. Well, I was a ghost.
Oh, wow.
So can you imagine? Excited, right? And then they say, "Oh yeah, you're playing a ghost," or and then the first shoot date was basically my shoot was in freaking Bukit Brown Cemetery.
Oh gosh.
I was dressed like, you know, like stereotype ghosts in a negligee. I had long black hair, and then they put the dark makeup, and then I had to stand in front of a grave.
Oh gosh.
I tell you, and then I had to pai all the corners, like follow the ritual. I'm very respectful of all religions. So it was so interesting, to say the least. I was like, I'm filming in a freaking cemetery. And then I remembered some freaky shit did happen there. There was some freaky dicky shit, like see your lights here now? Like, hope nothing happened. It all snapped, boom, 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 boom. All the lights started snapping.
Really?
At 3 a.m. Shit. And then they're like, okay, May, get back on the bus. And I was just like freaking out. And then after that, they were like, okay, we have to stop because they couldn't get the lights to work. And then I remember Irene Ang drove me home because I said, I cannot go home by myself. I'm literally freaking out right now. So that was my first TV show experience outside MTV, filming in a Bukit Brown.
Well, they got your role as a ghost. Would you do it again?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I think the older that I get, the more I'm less scared of the dark side, if that makes sense. I think because maybe my faith is stronger and I feel I'm stronger as a person.
But lucky you, at least you were a ghost. I was an alien.
Oh, Mr. Pereira was an alien.
No, in another show called Shiver. I was a bloody alien. Can you bloody believe that? Yeah. Well, anyway. Okay. So getting gigs on your own, has it been difficult for you, given the fact that you were of mixed parentage?
No, it's actually been to my advantage, to be fair.
You know why? I had some guests, two sisters who were on my show. The White sisters, Lisa and Sarah, they were on my show. And Lisa was the former Miss Universe Singapore 2016. Sarah is a glamour model, okay? And Lisa's trained in the UK for acting and can't get gigs.
Oh, wow.
And they are of mixed parentage. And they're good-looking girls, and it's really, really weird, man. I saw one spectrum, of lovely-looking girls of mixed parenthood, or parentage. I'm sorry, mixed parentage, who cannot or hardly get the big gigs. And here I'm talking to one, you and your sister.
I think in terms of acting, it really depends on what the client wants and what they envision. In terms of modeling and MC gigs, I would say it's definitely worked to my advantage, and I'm very aware of that. And I don't take it as a privilege. I am very, very aware that somehow in this part of the world, for that kind of job, somehow looking mixed has its perks. I think they like to see that you sort of in between worlds, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
They call it the Pan-Asian look. The
Pan-Asian look, yeah, for sure. Acting, I would also say, it really depends, because I feel a lot of them love Chinese-speaking actors. So I feel if you speak Mandarin fluently, that's a huge advantage for you, especially if you're mixed looking. I don't speak Mandarin. That's why I feel I've not been that lucky in the acting scene here, because I'm not a fluent Mandarin speaker. Even for 881, that was hard as fuck. We had to learn my lines phonetically. I didn't even know what it meant. So I just read the pinyin, and then I'll ask the girl, hey, is my tone right? Yes, your tone is right. And then my tone off, then take cut again, But because he wrote the role as Ang Mo Liu Len, so we sounded jialat, right? Like a Ang Mo trying too hard to speak Mandarin. It was part of the role, right? But I feel when people do ask me here sometimes, oh, can you do a Mandarin speaking role? I would literally, it's really hard to say, because I feel if I can't speak the language, I could learn it if somebody paid me to, learn the language like intensely for like 6 months for a role. I think I would. But just to do something off the chart, I can't. I don't feel I come across very natural or genuine because I don't have a command of the language.
I looked at your credentials, and I know
those credentials.
I know you've done some private shows for banks, etc., private company parties.
Yeah.
I do lots of those. I used to do lots of those.
I do miss pre-COVID days, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, very
Getting
much.
on stage, even.
Oh my God! Always. Like it's amazing.
Always.
Yeah.
And do you have any challenges of people saying, "Oh, you're monolingual"?
You're what? Sorry.
You're monolingual. You're not bilingual. You don't speak Mandarin. You speak English. Do you have trouble getting shows at all?
No, I don't think so. I think for me, the appeal is, I do speak, obviously I speak English. I speak fluent Indonesian, Malay. Bahasa. I speak Cantonese, and I know a couple of slangs here and there, very basic Hokkien, basic Mandarin. So I feel like when people do hire me for shows, they feel I'm very relatable. They don't, I have catered to all kinds of clients. If you want I was even booked for 2 big gigs in Indonesia because they wanted atas sounding Caucasian hosts. They didn't want local sounding hosts. So it depends, right? And sometimes I have done government corporate gigs before. I once did a gig for the Singapore Navy and things like that. So they like the fact that you look sort of international-ish, but then you appeal to the masses because you can relate. You can speak Mandarin, you can speak Cantonese, you can speak Singlish. They love that.
Yeah,
they love that you identify with them.
Yeah, I get that. I get all that. But let's talk about the local Singapore context. In the local Singapore context, getting a gig, the Navy, I wouldn't call it government really.
Well, it felt like a big government-ish because there was a lot of like rules and regulations to follow. You know what I mean?
So many companies, including, some state boards or parts of the civil service, usually ask for the MC to be bilingual. And if you're not in. You're not selected. You're not going to be not going to be getting the gig, regardless of whether you're relatable or not. So a lot of people, not as lucky as you.
Yeah, but I think to each his own. I've also had, trust me, I've had probably more rejections than yeses in my whole life. And I think everyone in this industry can tell you that. It's a tough industry to be in.
It is.
Because you hear the no's so many times. The yeses are hard to come by. I mean, people go, oh, what do you mean you don't have any yes? You did this. Yes, but like I said, we probably go way through more auditions and castings than the actual jobs you see us doing. Yeah. Okay. So and it's definitely made me grow a very thick skin lah. And back in the day, when we started all this 20 years ago, right? Mental health was not an issue. Wasn't something that considered. So can you imagine? I was tormented for my body weight non-stop growing up. Like in the modern industry, you're not skinny enough. Your ass is too big. Your hips is... Now everyone wants my ass apparently, because apparently big asses are back in trend.
Back in vogue.
So, so when the big ass trend came in, everyone's like, how can you got a big ass? I mean, it's been around lah. I just had to like downplay it because I was told it was too big. But I was tormented for my body weight like for years, and it stayed with me. So back in the day, nobody cared about... They say, oh, you bopian, you have to be a 25-inch waist or a 24-inch waist. And I remember I hated getting measured. Like when I go to casting, they go, May, if you lose 1 more inch on your hips, I will put you in the catwalk show. And then you kind of go, and you starve yourself to death. You get sick just to fit in. Now, if people tell me that I'm not what they're looking for, I say, okay, fine, on to the next. This is who I am. This is what I stand for. I mean, I am 40 this year. So it's like, and I've birthed 2 children. My body did change. My skin changed. But this is who I am. So I always say, like, I'm not going to fit into your mold. You need to fit into mine. Okay. So that's what I love about getting older. And I think now the industry's changed. I think people do care a lot about mental health now. I think people are not so mean with their words compared to the earlier days. And now body shape diversity is accepted in all shapes and sizes and everything now. Yeah.
You wrote something interesting, which I managed to get to read yesterday. You wrote about your family background. Yeah, I think it's kind of open knowledge, that one.
You're making me teary because I'm thinking about my dad. Sorry. Yeah, continue.
I don't mean to.
No, it's okay. I love the man to death.
Okay, and you wrote this term and it's called a blended family. Yeah. What's your definition of a blended family? Because it's the first I'm hearing.
I think people have, media, society have conditioned people into what they think is society norm. All right, you grow up in a marriage with the married parents, and you come from those parents, and then that's like your norm. Right? So obviously, I come from a family where the only biological parent in my relationship is my mother. Okay. And the father that raised me is the man that raised me. And I'm sorry. Just love him to death. He passed away 3 years ago.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. I get emotional talking about him. He was an amazing, amazing man. And then my mom married my stepdad. So I've had my whole life people going, yeah, it's so weird. How does your mom manage 2 men and who are not your dads? And people will always like I said, kepo and try and stir shit. But all I can say is this: I would love to tell the story one day, but I have to talk to my mother and my sister before I actually even go really public about it. Sure. But all I can say is that Troy and I grew up feeling very loved, and that was the feeling I had growing up. Never felt lesser loved by my dad or my stepdad. Both loved us just as though biological fathers should love. And I've seen some people with bad relationships with biological parents. So I always feel that you don't need to be blood to love someone. Love is love. Love is free. Love is kind, right? So that's what we were. We were a blended family growing up. I mean, my parents were best friends. They were all besties. The three of them. Oh yeah, and when my father passed away, he was surrounded by all of us. My mom, my stepdad, me, my sister, and that's when it hit me. Then I kind of went, wow, this is what you call like family till the end, and it was nice. Sorry, he got me.
No, it's cool.
No, I do miss him. He passed away from
We've got a box of tissues for you. Here we go.
No, so he's the father who raised me, the man whose name I take, was the most selfless. Everyone who has met him, anyone who's met him, is the most selfless human being that anyone has ever known. Really good man, good heart. He was an amazing grandfather to my kids and to Choi's son. And it's just a pity his life was taken a little bit too early from us. So it's his 3rd anniversary next month. So when you speak about him, I just get teary. Sorry. Yeah.
So, Mr. Tay.
Mr. Tay.
That you've taken your name.
Yeah.
From is your stepdad.
No, I don't call my stepdad, I call my dad.
Okay.
Because he's raised me since birth. Let's just put it that way.
Since birth.
Yeah. So like I said, one day, I know people have been asking. One day the story will come out. Not now.
Please break it on this show, okay?
Oh, okay. One day the story will come out. Yeah.
Let's talk about, I've always been curious about twins.
Okay.
Identical twins.
Sorry,
okay,
still a bit teary.
It's all right, take your time.
No, you're right.
I've always been curious about twins. My wife and I, years ago, we were supposed to have had a pair.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
It's all right. And it's a very difficult. I don't know whether you know this. When we lost the kids,
you lost both.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, quite tragically actually.
Oh, no.
But I'm not going to go into that.
Yeah,
detail.
no, we don't want more tissue coming
without
out.
asking my wife permission.
Correct. I understand. That's totally understandable.
So basically, we've learned because of that loss that there are 3 types of twin pregnancies, upon which only one is safe.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I tell you, I'm not going to go into the details though, but we've learned that the hard way. So apparently, when we lost ours, they were one of the 2 risky ones, twin pregnancies.
I had no idea
of the
about
twin
this.
pregnancies. Yeah. So you guys being twins are very special.
It is. I mean, and we are identical, by the way. There was only 1 placenta, so
Yeah.
So we're identical twins.
Yeah. So basically, for me, is when I meet twins and they're identical, I think it's an absolute miracle. And it's an absolute blessing. No,
thank you.
seriously, it is. It's true. I mean, having gone through what we've gone through, I've started to realize that.
Yeah.
So, and I've always been curious about some things.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me. Ask me.
I'm sure you
I
had
hope
these
it's not the
questions before.
typical stereotype silly ones I get. But hang on. Try me.
It's gonna be fucking silly. Anyway, do you guys have a connection?
Oh, yeah.
That is okay. Let's talk about that. Give us an example.
It doesn't happen often, but there will be times where she can feel me, like my feelings, what I'm going through. If I'm feeling sick or upset or having anxiety, there has been on occasions where we've had food poisoning at the same time, and we were in completely 2 different countries, eating 2 different foods. Yeah, and then literally I would call my mom and say, I'm vomiting. She goes, you're fucking kidding me. Choi just called me and said she's vomiting. And I was in China, she was in KL, my mom was in Australia. And we both called her saying we're both vomiting. It was really funny. So, but no, we never felt each other's labor pains. Everyone asked that. Never felt that, fortunately. Yeah, but yeah, there's definitely a connection. Sometimes we will finish each other's sentence, or let's say I'm thinking of something, and then she'll text it. I'll go, oh fuck, that was weird as shit. Like, it's happened on occasion quite a few times.
But I don't think that's just about. It's not limited to just twins.
I think it happens with, it depends on the connection you have with someone, right?
Yeah.
It can happen with a lover, it can happen with a daughter, a child, or a friend. It really depends on how connected you are.
Let me share something with you.
Okay, tell me.
My wife, when we were dating, it was, I don't know about, you're younger than me by about 11 years. Yeah?
Okay.
And back in the day, it's always about on the phone and you're talking,
Correct,
for
yeah.
hours and then, right?
Now it's like, what's that? Hey, how you doing?
And I was playing a song while I was in my room, single at the time, in my room, in my mother's house. I was on the phone with my then girlfriend, now wife. And I was playing Journey's Who's Crying Now.
Right.
Weird, yeah? It's Who's Crying Now. I mean,
Never mind lah, no judgment.
but no. Here's why I'm saying it's weird. When we were talking on the phone, I was playing that song. My wife stopped me from talking, and she said, "Listen." And she said, "You're playing Who's Crying Now, Journey." I said, "Yeah." Then I listened to her end. She was playing the exact same song.
Oh my God.
And the timing of the song, right, was almost
Oh God.
identical.
It's crazy. No.
So I'm just saying, it might not just be because
No, I
there's
think
an empath connection.
there's
probably.
always an empath connection with somebody in your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be a twin. I've had very rare empath connections outside my sister, maybe once or twice in my life, and I kind of went, oh, that was a bit weird, So I think it's just how connected you are. It's
But
not necessarily a twin thing.
scientifically, it's been proven that this actually doesn't work, doesn't happen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, proven wrong. That this doesn't really happen. But a lot of twins actually have these sort of experiences, especially identical twins.
All the time.
Yeah.
Like we will literally, like say for example, we will watch a TV show and then suddenly we both remember a certain memory from that show, and then we were gonna text each other and then we're like, hey, I was just thinking that. Or some
Have you guys ever impersonated each other?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Not
Tell us a story.
not okay. We cannot impersonate each other in real life. People can sort of tell us apart.
Okay.
But on the phone, yes, very easy because apparently we sound very alike on the phone.
Okay.
So we've played pranks on like each other's boyfriends in the past on the phone, just with the whole like, oh, I love you, and and then they were like, I love you too. They go, nah, joking, and then pass the phone to the real twin. Yeah.
Did you know that identical twins can't be convicted of a crime that relies on DNA?
I think I read this somewhere before. I read this about that two black twins, right? That one was convicted of murder. No, one did the murder, but the other one was convicted or something like.
Because the DNA is the same.
Yes.
So they cannot rely on DNA for evidence.
That's crazy. Yes, you're right. Because they also said, technically, our children are also each other's children. Because same DNA, right? Just different fathers. So sometimes when I look at my nephew, Dylan, I just go, "Ayo, you really look like me," or like you remind me of me as a kid. And when I hold him, people will say he looks like your son, even though he's the father of someone else. Yeah, it's amazing.
So you have a 9 and an 11-year-old.
Yes,
Both girls.
Both girls.
Okay.
Loves of my lives. Oh my God.
Yeah. I know. I'm crazy over my son. I don't spoil him. I always have to say that.
I know.
But
I don't spoil mine either, but I'm just so in love with them. It's ridiculous, the love you have. Oh my God.
What's the biggest challenge as a parent?
Well, I would say the biggest challenge would be sort of now. I am, I can announce this, but I am divorced. So I am a single mother now.
Okay.
I guess I would say nothing's really changed for me because my ex-husband was always away. So I've always been used to being on my own, the girl. So that really didn't shock me. The only difference now is that when you discipline them or when you're having a bad day, you used to rely on your partner to kind of come in and go, all right, you guys, listen to your mother. She's upset. You shouldn't have spoken to her that way. But now it's like, so you have to, I don't really have anyone to turn to, but it's just a different approach in how I do things.
Right.
But I wouldn't say it's that difficult. I've actually really been enjoying it.
What are the girls like? What are they like? Are they like anything like you and Choi when you guys were younger?
Yeah, I think so, right? Yeah. Look at my manager, like, yeah. A lot of my friends or family members who actually don't see them often, but when they see my girls speaking, they go, my God, May, that is like you. Or my eldest girl is Liela. She is, she's my first. So I always say they're both special to me because the first one is my firstborn, my first baby, my first pregnancy. So all my first was with her. Then the youngest is my baby, the one you do all the last things with.
Okay.
So I always see it both as very special. There's no one better than the other. The eldest one, oh my God, I love her. She's super sassy. She has an attitude to beat. I love it. I'm raising two strong girls here, right? She I would say she's a literature nerd. She loves to read. She writes exceptionally well. She writes amazing stories. She's super amazing at art, and she's got an old soul. She's very mature. She's obsessed with mythology, ancient Egyptian history, Greek mythology, Greek history. She can sit you down and name you all the goddesses and gods and what they stand for, what is their part in the world. Like she blows my mind. She's really smart. The youngest one, I call her my TikTok queen. You know, she's the one that is more into what's trendy now, you know, so she's all about TikTok. She knows the latest trends, but she's also my domesticated one. So she's the one that she's the type, she reminds me of me, like she'll watch YouTube and TikTok videos and go, I'm going to try this recipe because I saw this being made on TikTok or whatever, or YouTube. So she's the one that would like get up and make me something to eat. She's the one that unpacks the groceries. She's the one that, so this part of me, she really reminds me of me. I called her one morning, a couple of days before Chinese New Year, and she was tearing the dining room apart. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm reorganizing, Mom. It's spring cleaning for Chinese New Year. I said, oh my God, you got my blood. Like that's me, because I'm a spring cleaner. So I see elements of me in, but they're both also very loving, very big-hearted girls. They love young kids and they love animals. So I love seeing that side of them. But yeah, they're great. I would say there's never a boring day with them. Let's put it that way. There's always some sort of laughter and some sort of...
Do you see a repeat of May and Choi
that's what
in your girls?
That's what my dad used to say. My dad, when he was alive, and he used to look after them and babysit them, he would say, "Aiyo, these two May and Choi 2.0." Like he would just he said apparently really reminded him of me and my sister.
For these girls to take the same path the two of you took.
I don't know. I always feel they're definitely smarter than me. I think also it's the way of how we raise them, right? Like I come from my mom. Obviously, there's a different generation of upbringing, right? I was grown up in an environment where children don't really speak. You had to sit there and tangwa. You understand Cantonese? Like you had to listen.
Yeah, okay.
Tangwa. You don't really have an opinion. You don't, like I said, back then, mental health. No one cares about how you feel growing up, right? So I feel I have a lot of childhood trauma because I was not allowed to voice my opinion. I wasn't allowed to say what I think or debate. But with my girls, it's different. I allow them to completely have a voice in our home. Okay. We are always having open conversations. So in my house, I would say there's a fine line to being having a voice and being rude. Yeah. So I know if my girls, sometimes they will say, like if I'm having a bad day, they literally tell me, and go, "What's wrong with you, Mom? Why are you so grumpy?" I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry. If I said that to my mother growing up, kena hentak across the face. How dare you talk back to me? You know, that kind of thing. But that was that generation. So with my girls, I don't want them growing up sort of like, because like I said, we were bullied growing up in Malaysia. So I didn't have a voice. I was scared. I was always scared. I was even scared to put my hand up in school because in Malaysia, back in the day, if you want to ask a question, "You stupid, is it? You never listened to me in the first place." So that trauma always stays with me. And till this day, even if I get a text message or a call from someone saying, "I need to talk to you," I always assume it's something awful. Yeah. It's that trauma from young. So I don't want my kids to have that. So they're always allowed to ask me questions. No topic is off limits in our house. I mean, I am raising two young girls. I want them to be strong and independent, you know what I mean? And do something in their part in this world. So yeah.
So your eldest is in P5 or P6?
P6 already.
Same age as my son.
Yeah.
My son's also
hitting that almost the teens. Oh,
tweens. The tweens.
She's in the tweens.
And but anyway, listening to everything you just told me about how you raise your girls, and I got to tell you, you're a good mom.
Oh, don't make me cry again.
Really, because same thing. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a great dad, or my wife and I are great parents, but we do our best. You're right; it's a different generation. Nothing is off limits. I mean, and as long as you're not rude, and I tell my boy all the time, respect.
Respect, just respect. Be kind.
It's earned, it's not given.
That's what I always said. if you want me to respect you, I said, you have to earn my respect. So I said, you can't speak to someone rudely and then expect them to respect you back. That doesn't work in this house, right?
Yeah.
So it's always a fine line, and I don't want to go down that path of frightening them or threatening them or manipulating them like how our parents used to, or guilt tripping. That's the worst.
Yeah.
The guilt tripping is awful, and I don't want to do that. And obviously, they're now living in 2 households, right? So I never ever do that. I always
Emotional
feel
blackmail.
no, their time with their dad is their time with their dad, and their time with me is their time with me, and I just work on their time with me. I don't
Right.
interfere. I don't go, oh, this one, this, like, you just have to. I just have to believe in myself and believe that I'm doing the best I can for them.
So what's next for May?
Gosh, so many things.
Professionally,
oh my God. So you know what? We were actually in the middle. Actually, last year, I hit a bucket list. My sister and I were filming our first ever travel show.
Wow.
And that's my bucket list for years. My next one is obviously something to do with cooking or baking, but traveling was definitely one of the ones. So we managed to get a travel show last year, and unfortunately, due to the pandemic, production was halted. So it was amazing. So it was gonna be called Lost in Sarawak. And we were in Sarawak, so we were going to check out the local tribes. We lived, while we were there filming, we actually managed to stay in a longhouse with the Bidayu tribe, and we ate the food and checked out the local culture, the local scenery, and there was 3 weeks worth of amazing things to do. We were going to go up the coast, road tripping. It was amazing, and then literally like 1 week in. Singapore closing borders, Malaysia was going to have an MCO, and that was what was going to be happening. So if that had gone through and there was no pandemic, I think the show would have been released this year already. So that was so we still have 2 more weeks of filming, so I don't know how we're going to get around to that right now. I mean, borders are all closed, but that was the one big thing that I was really excited about.
Anything else in your plans besides that?
Let's see where the wind takes me, honestly, with this pandemic. I mean, honestly, I do feel for a lot of people, and it does affect our industry as well.
It does,
like we were mentioning earlier, I do miss live events. I thrive from the energy of the audience. So when I did my first Zoom, I kind of was like, hi guys, welcome to the... And then I just feel a bit like stupid. That's the word, because I couldn't feel people's energy. All you see is this little screen sitting there, and they just, but when you're in real life, you see the appreciation of people's faces, the applause, the excitement.
This sentiment is something that's been raised on so many of my episodes. There's so many guests, especially people like May Wan even, when he was here last. And we talked about this. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 plus years. And I can tell you, a lot of people out there who are not entertainers, they will never appreciate and understand what it's like for us. You're so right. We feed off the energy of people. And that gives us this high that we just need so much.
I cannot explain the feeling of being on stage. And it's not an attention-seeking thing. I don't want people to think, oh, look at me. I'm a glamour girl, whatever. It's just, I like to make people smile. I love making people smile. I love getting them excited. So it's just a thriving, and it's exchange of energies, right? I don't know if you believe in energies, but we always exchange energies with people. If you're in a room full of negative people, you're going to be negative. So when you're on stage and the people are rah-rahing for you and you're hyping them up, it's shock. That's how I can say in a very true Singaporean way. It's so shock, the feeling. Super shock.
Absolutely. I've come to this part of the show. It's we for some reason my producer brought it back today.
Okay, what are we doing?
The quick fire segment. I'm going to be asking you quick questions. You just give me quick answers, okay?
Okay.
So we're going
Are they
going to
be dirty or nasty?
Have I been so polite so far?
You should take it up a notch. This has been way too clean.
Take it up a notch.
You told me
nothing's.
You told me nothing's off limits here. So let's go.
And I meant that.
Okay.
It's just that I will just feed off what my guests are like. And I just let you roll. And I've been letting you roll, and that's what I should be doing.
Okay, that's cool. No, I'm just teasing.
I don't want to just come in and butt in and just Spoil the whole fucking
You'd be
thing.
surprised by my answers, though. Maybe I might surprise you.
So let's try this one then.
Okay.
Okay, ready? If you could change one thing about your past, what would it be?
Probably wouldn't have gotten married. Just had kids.
But now you've got your kids and you love
No,
them
so
much.
I said,
You talk so much about
I
it.
always said if I had to do it again, I would do the motherhood thing because I love being
Okay,
a
the
mom.
motherhood thing is fine, but not the fucking marriage, right?
Yeah, depends on the person, right? But to each his own. There's nothing wrong with being married as long as it, But yeah, I think I would have done if I knew that I love motherhood way more, I would have probably gone to a sperm bank. But then again, if I didn't meet their dad, I wouldn't have Leela and Sienna. So it is what it is. Yeah.
You just became Catholic. Check what you should and shouldn't do. Sperm bank, my ass. Next question. What's your favorite food? Wow, so difficult, this one.
Difficult,
What's wrong with you?
Okay, you know what? I would just probably have to generalize it and say it has to be Malaysian food. Sorry, I know.
For fuck's sake.
I know, sorry. Honestly, I've been on the Malaysian food roll the first many days of Chinese New Year. I was ordering all sorts of Malaysian food to my house because normally I go home every year, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I would say Malaysian food.
Anything in particular?
Char kway teow, number one.
Come on, rubbish.
What rubbish?
That's absolute rubbish.
Why is there absolute?
Fuck that.
Why?
Char kway teow, Singapore, come on.
No, Singapore char kway teow is not. No, you guys put way too much sugar.
What?
And I don't understand why you put chili sauce with wanton min. It's cheng la chiu, man. It's the pickled green chili. And when I get annoyed when they go, you want chili sauce? I'm like, no,
My
uncle.
argument
Okay,
is
never
about...
mind. You cannot argue.
My argument is about char kway teow, okay? For heaven's sake. Fucking hell, Malaysian char kway teow.
No, okay. You know what? If you have to say it's my favorite, it's actually something I actually just cooked a couple of days ago. It's my grandmother's Malaysian Siamese laksa.
Siamese laksa.
Yeah, because this recipe came from the border of Thailand and Malaysia where my great-great-great-grandmother came
Assam
from.
laksa lah.
It's not Assam. Sorry, bro.
Oh, okay.
Go on my Instagram and you'll find out it's not Assam.
Hello, I go on your Instagram, I find out, if I think it looks bloody good, you cook one, then you DHL over to me.
Yeah.
DHL.
I have to
Grab
show
lah.
you. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna show you a picture, and it look Assam is like brown, right? So this
Yeah.
one comes out really quite bright and yellow because I put a lot of turmeric. That's not Assam laksa. We garnish it with fresh herbs on top. If you guys can see that.
Zoom in, Seth. Zoom in, man. Zoom
This
in.
is my grandmother's Siamese laksa that has stood the test of time.
It's really zooming in.
Yeah, I know. So there you go. It's not Assam. There you go.
Okay, it looks good. Do me a favor. Send it by Grab Food. Send it over to me. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
no, I will probably send over and then you can do a show and probably do like a food tasting or something. Okay, what's the next question?
What is one of your weirdest quirks?
Oh my god. I don't know if this is I love being scratched.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Wait.
On the
scratch
ankles.
where?
On the ankles.
Oh, boring.
It's boring.
I love being scratched. I was getting
No,
a bit excited. Then she tells me ankles.
No. I have a quirk where I like to constantly be touched. So say if my kids sit with me on the couch,
Okay.
I have to put my leg on them, and I will say, and then I'll make them start like scratching me, or massaging. I always constantly need to be like sensory, like scratch, massage. My late father used to entertain me, and he would start complaining while massaging my ankles and my feet.
Touchy-feely person.
Very touchy-feely. I love hugs and kisses. My girls and I, oh my God, like non-stop. So much love between us. Very much. Yes, and if I'm attached, I am also very touchy-feely. If we want to go into that next level. Jesus.
She's got to come back for a second round. I'm going to find out more about this shit, what was the last film you watched, and was it good?
Actually, I still know what you did last summer.
Oh my God.
I know. I felt like watching a trashy slasher film. I was bored. It was, just
There's so many new slasher movies, girl.
I know, but I'm a 90s girl. Freddie Prinze Jr. He's so cute.
What?
Come on. Okay, fine. The last probably... Okay, you know what? I really liked Dunkirk. the film Dunkirk. Have you seen
But
Dunkirk?
that was just so yesterday.
I know, but I just watched it recently on Netflix. And I really, really love that film. It is a freaking brilliantly made film, I have to say. I love it. So
Do you know that there were no cuts in the movie?
No
It was
cuts
just-
at all.
yeah.
And it actually, I didn't realize such a thing actually really happened, that, the English actually sailed across the channel and saved them. It's amazing. I had no idea. It taught me a huge lesson in history. That's what I say. It's great, great film.
I didn't know that, huh?
And I love Lupin, the new French.
Lupin.
That was amazing as well.
But your daughter will be able to tell you all about Dunkirk.
No, she's not really into that sort
Into
of
that kind of history.
history. No, she's not into military history. She's really into Egyptian and Greek history. So the other day,
Akhenaten, Nefertiti.
yeah. So when I watched, the other day, when I watched Troy a couple of weeks ago, and I said to her, hey, babe, it was Helena Troy. Is this a real story? And then she's like, well, it is debatable. Helena Troy is not. They're not sure if it's a real figure, but Sparta did exist. That's an answer from my 11-year-old. Yeah. So if I want to ask any questions about that, I always
Clever girl.
clever girl.
Clever girl. Anyway, Helen and Troy did exist.
I know it's debatable if you read about it. She
did
could have
exist.
been many different figures, but then they made a story. But Sparta did exist apparently.
Okay.
So
Another topic for another show. What was your last text sent and received?
don't look at me like that. I didn't send anything nasty. The last text I sent someone.
Uh-huh.
1 second.
You just open it
It's
up.
to you lah.
You mean some manager who's standing behind the cameras, just so you guys know.
I said, no, sorry. Oh, no. No, sorry, not you. The last text was a girlfriend said, can I call you? And I said, okay, give me 7 minutes. That was it. And because I took a shower and then I came here. So nothing nasty, guys.
Lucky you.
Nothing nasty.
What 2 things would you change about yourself?
I would say, I'm trying to change one of that right now. I went through a really big bad phase of constantly depending on other people's opinions on me to make a decision in my life. Does that make sense? Like every time I wanted to make a decision, I would call 4 or 5 people. Hey, what do you think? And I didn't know my worth.
Okay.
I didn't know how to make decisions on my own.
Right.
And I changed that. And actually, when I got divorced, so I've been separated for a year now.
Okay.
So I felt after that separation, I realized I had to do a lot of things on my own. So I had to depend on my own voice and my own gut feel, which is something I'm still slowly working on, but it's better. And I would say another thing I would change about myself is probably not to be too kanchiong. Like, I'm quite an anxious person. I have really bad anxiety. Oh, yeah, people don't see it. That's why I say anxiety can be hidden in a lot of people. I mean, people will look at my Instagram and go, oh, you're so lively. But of course, everyone knows, fuck, guys, Instagram is just a fucking show reel, right?
Yeah.
I do show some of the bad stuff sometimes. I mean, when my dad died, I talk about it all the time, about my grief and how I felt. But I didn't tell anyone he had cancer till the end, right? But Instagram, I don't pretend my life is perfect either, but I'm not going to also air my dirty laundry.
Sure.
So that's not who I am. But yeah, that's pretty much like, people will look at me and go, you can't imagine you're actually someone with anxiety. But I do have a lot of anxiety. I am raising 2 young daughters in a pandemic. There's a lot of things to worry about, but I have a fighting spirit. So I always fight on. So that's why people will always assume, oh, she's strong. I am trying very hard, guys. I am trying very hard to stay afloat inside me mentally and physically. So yeah, that would be probably another thing I would try to change.
Okay. Thanks for being so open.
Oh, no, it's fine. Hey.
2 more questions.
Sure, go for it.
Who upset you last?
I cannot say. I cannot say.
Really?
Yeah, too personal.
Who made you happiest last?
Probably. Wait, let me see.
That one can say lah.
No, I did have a big. I had a big laugh. Was it last night? I would say when my kids text me, like, and sometimes it's not even loving words. Like they will go like, I'm like, hi, yeah, what's up? And then that just makes me laugh because,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah. No, I would say when my kids text me,
Yeah.
it makes me really happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last question. If you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what would you say?
Well, that's deep. That's a very deep question. If I had the world's attention for 30 seconds, I would say, I think people should live their lives for themselves. Don't live your life for others or for society's norms. I would say, do what makes you fucking happy. That's what I would say.
Word.
Yeah, word.
Thanks so very much, May.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.
I told you it's just going to be an hour.
I know, I didn't realize the hour would like swing by like that.
But guess what?
What?
It's been longer than that.
Oh, nice. Well, I ain't a boring guest. Let's just put it that way,
you're
right?
definitely not boring. You made me look boring today.
You made me cry today, so there you go.
She actually said I was quite boring.
I didn't say you're boring.
In some respect.
No, I thought there'll be like sex questions or what's your darkest fantasy shit. Because you said nothing's off limits, right?
Yeah, doesn't mean I'm just gonna lead everything.
No,
that
I'm
way.
joking. I mean, maybe in the next show we'll have some gin, and then maybe that will come up.
Yeah, let's do this again. Okay?
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
You've been watching KWC Kopi with Chris, and I've had the pleasure of having May Wan in the studio. What a conversationalist!
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but okay.
Of course, it's a good thing. It's a talk show.
I know, but when I grew up, a lot of people were saying, you talk a lot, like in a very condescending tone. So I never saw that as a positive thing.
Okay,
so
May,
I always get...
I'm going to close the show now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to stop this woman from talking, I can tell you that. And thank you very much for being with us. You can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, and eventually you'll hear this episode on Spotify and iTunes. Until next time, stay safe, stay sane. Bye-bye, everyone.